All right, we should be live now in Inglewood without Shot Town. And bear with me, production. You can cue the show when you're ready. Today is Mouthpiece included. As always, you can pull up. We'll drop the link in the chat. This is part 2 of our series on CTE. Today, specifically, we're going to cover race norming. Race norming. Small ups to the KKK. Killing the Mockingbird. Oh, she heard.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Fair use, y'all. Big ups to the far side. Life is just a riddle. We'll start a
Who are the guys that are the best in the world and make the rest of the team look like a gaggle of girls?
Okay, I'm in my local Ralph's, and this happened.
I don't go to church, and I know God understands. I can
Man, where do they keep the honey around here?
of the Bears.
Excuse me, you know where the honey is?
Who are the guys that are the best in the world and make the rest of the team look like
Oh,
a gaggle of
geez,
girls?
Al.
The Bears.
Who wants cheese head?
I don't go to church, and I know God understands. I can stay on my couch because God is
Of
a
the
fan of
Bulls.
the Bears.
Who are the guys that are the best in the world and make the rest of the team look like a gaggle of
The
girls?
Bulls.
The Bears.
All right, y'all. Let's cue the joint. Silverbacks in the building. Mouthpiece included. TATN. Big ups to TATN. Serious topic today. And as I said, it's always an open mic, so we shall get this link dropped into the chat. For anybody who chooses to pull up, as always, we're going to go through our hot topics, things of this nature. Let's see here. TATN. All right, so I'm going to pin this into the thing here. All right, so I just pinned the smash that thumbs up too. I just pinned the link if you want to pull up on today's topics. Let's see here. All right.
Mouthpiece included.
All right, y'all. So today, as always, we're going to run through the weekly hot topics. AB is in the news. That's Antonio Brown. He's in the news once again. Then, of course, we're going to go through how about those Bears? They're coming off a W, so big ups. I'm sure they're going to look at the tape so they can figure out where they're at and take a look at the whys. Should they fire the coach? How about the GM? Keep the coach. Apparently, it's just in time again. They announced that he's going to be back for the final game. So should we hold him out? So that way he's healthy in the offseason. And of course, as always, we do our quarter black of the week. It's quarter black of the week, where we're going to hand select the most valuable quarter black for week. I think that would have been 17. Anyhow, then of course, how about those Bulls? Those first place Bulls? How about them? How about those Bulls? Those first place Bulls? And then we get into our topic, race norming. What does that mean? So that's the topic today, and as always, make sure you guard your grill, knuckle up, and you definitely don't want to forget to bring your mouthpiece. Mouthpiece is included. All right, so we're going to jump off with our first topic. First thing, I didn't have any updates or amendments from part one of the CTE show. There were no corrections or updates that I was made aware of, so part one can be seen right here on TATN. We covered a few players, notable players who were known to have had it. We speculated on some things, and also we discussed the fact that as of now, CTE cannot be diagnosed until post-mortem. So I do believe the Nigerian-born doctor, is working on ways to diagnose it before death. Now, hot topics. First hot topic I wanted to discuss. There's been some talk, some chatter. I think, what's his name? Jalen Rose? Big ups. And Molly Qerim, Molly Rose. I'll say Molly Rose. I guess the rumor mill is circulating that they're going through a divorce. I think so. So I would imagine it's irreconcilable differences. They're in the state of California, so the laws are kind of funny here. And then behind that, though, there was some rumor on the rumor mill about Molly and Stephen A. Smith. Now, we're not into perpetuating ungrounded or unfounded rumors over here on TATN, but I researched it because we know how the internet can be. And I don't know, it just seems like it's a bunch of nonsense, for lack of a better term. Just seems like it's a bunch of nonsense. But supposedly, according to the internet, Stephen A. Smith and his co-host Molly have been having have been dating, I guess, since the separation of Jalen and Molly. So if that's true, small ups to Stephen A. You know, you're in violation of the bro code if that's the case, and if that is the case, you know, whoever said you were a bro. So I digress. So we'll push past that. Today's topic, though, is CTE Part 2. We're covering race norming. We'll get to that. We shall get to that shortly. The link is in the chat for anybody who wants to pull up. Don't forget to bring your mouthpiece when you do pull up. But we're going to talk about, let's see here, Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown. Now, Antonio Brown, I believe he started with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They traded him to the Raiders. The Raiders cut him. And he got picked up by Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. So I didn't pull up any video, but basically the Bucs were playing at the Jets, and so how the story initially broke was they were asking Antonio Brown to get into the game, and I guess he was saying that he wasn't healthy enough or what have you, or he just refused to go in. And then he started pulling his clothes off and, you know, taunting the fans or cheering the fans on the road. They asked the head coach after the game, Bruce Arian. They asked Bruce Arrogant about him, and he said that Antonio Brown is no longer part of the team. Last time I checked, he has not been cut. He hasn't been put on the waiver wires, but that was Bruce Arians' retort when the media asked him about Antonio Brown. Just to give you some background, Antonio Brown was alleged by, I guess, an ex-fiance to have been physical, putting hands on her, I think holding her against her will, thing of this nature, stalking her. He didn't get along with the Pittsburgh Steelers coach, which I have a lot of respect for. So, you know, apparently he's been given multiple opportunities to, I guess, right the ship. Fantastic talent right now. He's, by NFL terms, he's old. He's 34. So he's been having a down year, I guess, by his standards. But, I mean, he's still Antonio Brown. Now, as the story unraveled a bit, it came out that Antonio Brown was apparently injured. He was on an ankle. He had been running around there and they weren't throwing him the ball. Supposedly he's creeping up on an incentive because, you know, a guy with his volatility, his contract's all incentive laden. And so maybe he felt like the organization wasn't playing him or wasn't giving him any attempts, and it were costing him money. Now, that's contrary to the view of they're asking him to go in the game and then he's refusing to go in the game. So don't know if he's thinking, you know, why am I going to go in and run around if you guys aren't going to throw me the ball? Really don't know the details. It's been a lot of chatter about it. I do know Randy Moss went on national TV. I don't think he started crying again, but wouldn't be surprised if he did. He likes to cry in front of white people. And Booger McFarland talked about, you know, the code of NFL players. You know, you don't walk off the field on your guys. Supposedly there's no coming back from this in the eyes of those two players or former players. I feel like it's a bunch of hypocrisy, because if this guy was still, say if he was 28 years old and playing MVP type of football, I think they'd find a way to work that out. So, was he cut? Did he quit? Well, he walked off the field, but I don't know how the NFL works or how their union is. In most states, you gotta be a no-show, no-call. I think on the third day they consider that job abandonment. I think there's been many a person who storm out of the office. Maybe they're upset or have a personal emergency, but according to the reports, he, left the locker room and called an Uber and then released a rap song the same day. So Antonio Brown, if there is some sort of a mental issue, some psychological going there, I encourage you to find yourself some good help. Get around the people, surround yourself around the people who truly love you and care. I'm not going to armchair diagnose anyone. We do have a guest coming on the Self-Love Show week after Wednesday that could probably do a much better job at that than me. That all being said, if you need help, get help. Prayers up for you, but not going to waste a lot of energy. I got 99 problems, and Antonio Brown is not one. So let's see here. All right, and then so the Bears got a victory. These victories aren't easy to come by in the NFL. Stellar job by the defense. It was one of those weather games, wind involved, but can't take nothing away from those Bears. They have a way of winning the meaningless games. Figuring out the Y's and the X's and the O's and taking a look at tape, and at the end of the season, getting victories and saving this quote unquote coach, saving his job. I hope that doesn't happen this year. We're also blowing our chance at a higher draft pick, which we certainly need, but at the same time, go Bears. You play to win the game, and hey, a W is a W. So big ups to those Bears. Let's see here. Quarter Black of the Week. This is one I have been following, because those who've been on the show kind of understand that, hey, those who've been, fans of the show understand that, hey, I don't really watch the NFL too much anymore. It's becoming difficult to watch, when you know that it's a racist league. I don't know what's in the NFL's heart, but I'm just one man with an opinion, and it's a racist league. And, the topic we're covering today kind of is another way that this is being highlighted. And so it just makes it really difficult to enjoy a game. A lot of dog whistling going on. It's classless, in my opinion, and they need a complete overhaul. But again, I'm just one guy, and they're a billion or $1 trillion industry. So as long as they're generating the money, they're going to just continue on with the bigotry as usual. That all being said, the quarterback of the week, our normal selections, This list is getting long now, I will say, for black quarterbacks. You got Lamar Jackson. He's been injured. Cam Newton, the rookie, Justin Fields, just in time, as I call him. Teddy Bridgewater, he's injured. Kyler Murray. Then you got Russell, the future Wilson. And of course, let's not forget Pat Mahomes. So I'll leave that up to the chat. I didn't follow it. So I'll leave it up for the chat. Who was the black quarterback of the week? Do chime in and let us know. Who was the quarterback of the week? Now, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Like, share, hit that thumbs up. Like, share, subscribe. We're going to jump into how about those Bulls? How about those first place Bulls? How about them? So as of now, what is this? NBA standings. Yeah, so right now they're the Bulls are 25-10. The next team behind them are the Brooklyn Nets, 24-12. So right now the Bulls have a game and a half lead on Brooklyn. And we've won 8 out of our last 10 games. So been on a tear. And I do believe we're starting to get players off of the COVID protocol. So we're getting quote unquote healthy, getting our roster back. So hats off to the Bulls. You got the Bucks in third place, Miami Heat in fourth place. And, you got the Sixers, Cavaliers, Raptors, and the Charlotte Hornets with the 8th seed if the playoffs started today. So, I'm quick to criticize when things aren't going well. I've been saying remove Paxson, Foreman, and all these guys. I do believe that happened. We got a new coach. I hope the Bears are listening. And look, like magic, the thing got turned around. So go figure. This isn't rocket science, people. You lead from the front, not by your front. You want to fix a problem, start at the top. Start at the top. So we'll leave it with go Bulls, go Bulls, go Bulls. Now, we're going to move into topic, which is race norming. This is part 2 of our series on CTE. What is race norming? Well, this was a term I hadn't heard of prior to our research on this particular topic. Race norming, more formally called within group score conversion and score adjustment strategy, is the practice of adjusting test scores to account for the race or ethnicity of the test taker. So, once again, we all know that many of these tests are quote unquote culturally biased. The standardized testing, you can ask certain questions that, quite frankly, some black people wouldn't know about. If you start asking me about fondues, I'm going to tell you fondant. I'm not a cheesehead. So there's a certain cultural schism in this country that have led to lower test scores for African Americans and many of your, quote unquote minorities and people of color and things of this nature. Obviously, it won't exist if this individual is raised in a, alt-white community or what have you. But the point is that this race norming was designed to aid minorities and things to level the playing field somewhat. When you're looking at these test scores and you're saying, okay, I'm going to invite this kid to our campus, as opposed to not inviting this kid to the campus because his overall ACT or SAT score is just too low. So it was a way to kind of adjust the scoring for those who may have been beneath the curve due to cultural biases. Now, the NFL, which I refer to as the Triple K, I don't see any difference. These people have a way of taking anything that's designed to help us and then using it against us, or they'll use it for their own personal gain. So what they did with their race norming is we'll get into that in a second. There was a settlement for CTE, and so there's treatment involved, and this treatment will be paid for, but they do cognitive testing, and so what they were doing is adjusting the blacks' cognitive test using the same race norming criterion, if you will. And so that if my score is the same as my white counterpart, then they would adjust it. And so they would say, well, obviously his brain isn't degenerating. You just have to adjust his score and then it'll even it out. It's really sick, for lack of a better term. It's really sick. So I wanted to go to this chart. So right now, the NFL by race, it's say 25% white, and it's 58% black or African American. So, if you do the analytics, and if you have, X amount of dollars in a pool for treatment, things of this nature, but then you're adjusting the blacks or African Americans, you're adjusting their cognitive scores using this race norming criterion, you could save yourself a whole bunch of money by finding doctors that are willing to use racism when evaluating their players or their patients. So I just wanted to give that breakdown of the NFL. It's a good percentage of the players are black. So, which means a good percentage of the players who are going to suffer from CTE are going to, again, be black. But these players weren't getting the treatment. They weren't getting the treatment, at least the black ones weren't. And so what happened was the NFL what they did was, okay, so let's say if I'm a player and I'm having trouble, I'd see the NFL's doctors and they'll use this race norming stuff, and myself and my wife, and they like, no, this guy's different. He's got headaches, he's violent, he's this and that. So then we go out and get our own private doctor. The private doctor does the cognitive testing and says, wait a second, this guy's 34 years old, but he has the mind of a 60-year-old. And so the doctor, the independent doctor, will do his or her report, present that to the league, and the league was saying, well, you didn't adjust your scores for race norming. The league stood behind this, ignoring the fact that the players needed help. Now, in their defense, after many players started coming forward and licensed doctors, after the pressure kept being put on, the league agreed to end race-based testing in the $1 billion settlement on concussions. The league accepted these changes after an outcry over test score adjustments known as the predetermined race norming, which was making it more difficult for retired black players to win dementia awards. This is bizarre if you ask yourself, why would the league do this? It's real easy to say, yeah, well, it's just money. They were just doing it for the bottom line. It's a business, but I find it difficult when the players who were being denied the treatment were all black. And this is why, when you add in, Colin Kaepernick, this is why it's becoming more and more difficult for me as a black man to watch the games. And I love me some football. So there's that. So now, so the league, without going to court, they, stopped this practice of race norming. Guess we should cheer this, give a standing ovation. Is that justice? I watched one of the players' wives, and she said, well, that's about as much justice as if someone stole my purse and then, gave it back. I'm going to go a bit further. With treatment, it always matters to me, I think to most doctors. They always say the earlier you can start treating an issue, whether it's psychological or physical, the better. So you have these players dangling on a participle, so to speak, and then now the league finds a human heart within itself because it was afraid of lawsuits, and says, okay, well, now we're going to do the right thing. I don't think that's justice. It's like Juneteenth, Was that justice when those people were finally told that they're free? It's like, no, I could have been freed 4 years ago. So how's this justice? Is it justice for the slaves to have been freed in the first place? I mean, was that justice without restitution, reparations? So that's race norming, and that's what we're here to unpack today. So big ups to the NFL, in a sense, for at least finding their way and doing the right thing. So gonna have to monitor this situation because it's very sad. their product is, it's violent. It's always discounted its players, even when they were white back in their early days. So we as fans have to, in my opinion, take a long look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what are we supporting, and at what cost? Final words. America is a quote unquote free country. We have rights and privileges by virtue of being born here as citizens vis-a-vis in the United States. So we make choices. And so we have the right to say, I'm going to put my body in harm's way and my mind, to make money and support my family. That being said, how will history look at the NFL? Will our progeny see us as being barbaric, the way we see the Romans as being barbaric, from their games that they played? We look at the Spanish and the bullfighting, and many Americans will say that's barbaric. How will our children's children look back and say, wow, how could they let that league take advantage of those people like that? A private corporation. And will they just blame the league, or will they blame society in general? So that's what I leave you with on that topic. Race norming. Is it normal? These are the things we ask. Let's see here. All right. Next week, we're on the Self-Love Show Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central. We're covering Pink Terror, Pink Massacres. Many of us talk about Black Wall Street, but there were hundreds of Black Wall Streets. TATN is going to unpack it on the Self-Love Show. We're starting out with the first known historic massacre, and that was in Brooklyn. I want to say 1863. So it's going to be a series. The first one is Wednesday, the 12th, 9 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time, right here on TATN. Next week on Mouthpiece Included, Well, we got a special topic, and that topic is going to be announced. We're not going to let that secret sauce out just now. Where those Bulls fans at? And y'all make sure y'all staying safe out here. Keep your social distance. Stay away from guys wearing masks. And make sure when you're out and about, whether you're in Inglewood, Cali, or whether you're in Inglewood, Cali, or you're in or you're in the great city of Chicago, Illinois, keep your head on a swivel. Check them blind spots. Keep those dukes up. Guard your grill. Knuckle up. Don't forget to bring your mouthpiece.